Afraid of being replaced, he kept his children trapped inside Gaia's womb, preventing them from being born. Gaia, wary of this confinement, conspires against Uranus and helped one of her sons, Kronos, escape. Kronos overthrew his father and seized power, only to then commit the same mistake. According to the myth, terrified by a prophecy that foretold that one of his children would dethrone him, Kronos devoured all of his children at birth. Yet the prophecy could not be avoided. As Zeus was born and raised in secret, the son of Kronos would return and defeat his father, thus establishing the cycle. The father fears the son dethrones the father, and power is exchanged through violence, just like Norm and his father. Norm, Lucy, and their mother escaped to the surface and found another world. That is when Hank gets scared and traps them inside Vault 33. Just like Uranus, who confined his children to their mother's womb, Hank wanted his children to live forever in ignorance underground. For Vault-Tec, the best way to control the future is to control the present. Having children learn the truth is dangerous because just as Zeus replaced Kronos and Kronos replaced Uranus, Norm is destined to replace Hank. A child who is not controlled can destroy an empire. This is why Vault-Tec does not allow any city to progress beyond them. Vault-Tec is the father, and those cities on the surface are the children, and the father does not want any of them to surpass them. Every time a new city emerges, the company sends someone to destroy or cannibalize it. Like Kronos feeding on his children, the birth of Norm and Lucy represents the emergence of a new generation that wasn't supposed to escape the womb, but did. As old mythology dictates, they are destined to overthrow their father and become something worse. Norm manipulates people to lead them to the surface. He has already shown leadership and manipulative skills, the same attributes that led his father to the top of the food chain. Norm has earned his family name, as he is becoming something worse than Hank. So, what do you think? Will Norm become a worse version of his father? I'm a gloomy geek, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Are you aware that at every job you've been assigned to, your performance review has been lax enthusiasm? No, but that sounds accurate. What are you doing? Thawing everyone. What? No, you can't just bother them all.
Deep underground in Vault 33, 200 years after the world ended, Norm MacLean was born. Son of the leader who would repopulate the world, a promise for future generations who would share the family name. Norm is as intelligent as he is quiet. He was often bored with every job he was assigned. Are you aware that at every job you've been assigned to, your performance review has been lax enthusiasm? No, but that sounds accurate. Yet the boy would eventually discover that Vault-Tec was more than an ideology for the humans of the future. It was the cause of humanity's extinction, having designed a system to perpetuate its power from the shadows, using its executives as the head of the company, generation after generation. I'm a gloomy geek, and what if the son is meant to surpass his father but become something worse? Vault-Tec's plans did not account for the possibility that one of the sons of the most dangerous executive could be more dangerous than his father. Norm escaped the vault believing he had freed himself. He thought he was following his own path, but he wasn't. He was on the path to becoming his father. His story begins like any other child in Vault 33. Norm MacLean was destined to continue Vault-Tec's dominance. However, one day, Norm and his sister Lucy escaped with their mother from Vault 33 after suspecting that their father Hank was lying to them and that there was a habitable city on the surface, and they found one. A town called Shady Sands that would then become a target of Vault-Tec. Even though Norm was just a child and clearly doesn't remember the events of those days in Shady Sands, he does remember the feeling of being outside, the warmth of the sun on his face, and the feeling of knowing that the world was more than just lit corridors underground. Their father dragged him and Lucy back into the depths. Hank thought that with time his children would forget the outside world, that it was all just a dream, and it worked for a bit. Something within Norm never stopped longing for the warm light of the outside world. He remembered that there was something bigger outside the bunker, outside the cave where his father held him and others captive. Those memories of Shady Sands could never become fading dreams. They stayed alive in Norm. That's why he was bored of every job he was assigned. No role in the community satisfied him. Nothing felt good enough. Norm didn't want to fit in. He wanted to get out, and Lucy shared that sentiment. That's why when the time came, Norm helped his sister to escape the vault. The siblings separated. Lucy finds her awakening in the real world and sees how cruel it can be through the actions of those who inhabit the surface. Norm, on the other hand, awakens by looking inward at the lies created by his father. He sees how cruel his world is to the people shielded from reality. They were both enlightened by the truth, but their awakening takes a deeper, dangerous, and darker path. The path that pushes Norm to take his father's place. What are you doing? Sawing everyone. What? No, you can't just follow them all. Unlike other members of Vault 33, Norm doesn't follow instructions. He disobeys them, attacks them, and then leads the Vault-Tec executives outside, lying to them and making them believe that they are part of a plan to reclaim the world. Norm, like his father, used the deception to his advantage. We saw how Norm uses the executives as stepping stones towards the outside, towards the real world. He destroyed the Vault-Tec protocol and felt the sun on his face once again. The story of a son who goes against his father, thus becoming something worse. What does this story remind you of? I know that sounds bad. Stand up. The archetype of the child who surpasses their parents originates from Greek mythology. In the beginning there was Uranus, a primordial god who feared his offspring.